it's always hard sitting in your own screenings. The more time that passes, the easier that becomes. The reaction afterwards and being able to celebrate, we had a great time afterwards, so I kind of recovered from the screening. The first idea I ever had for a feature film was a sci-fi set in a service station, a motorway service station. I've kind of always been fascinated by them as spaces, something, that feels like a spaceship to me. The kind of isolation of them, the darkness and the light, the contrast of that. It's only through making a short film I made called Naphtha that I kind of, discovered the character of Adam, who is the lead in the film. He's kind of like a person who I'd say is alienated from the world he exists in, and feels alienated from, the place he descended from as well, and his family and heritage. The two felt like they existed together, so that was, the starting point. One of the starting points, was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I was kind of fascinated by that film because it's kind of presented as this, story of this escape and this man's finding connection, in the stars with aliens and whatever it is. But kind of watching it back, a bit older, I was like, kind of like abandons his family. What happened to that family that he left back behind, and kind of thinking about, people in my own life and things like that. So there was that. Like Safe, the Todd Haynes film, we talked about quite a lot in terms of, a character who exists in the normal world, slowly and very gradually kind of slipping into a stranger kind of existence, or a way they perceive the world sort of changing dramatically. For the more abstract sequences in the film, we looked at the films of Stan Brakhage quite a lot, kind of an experimental filmmaker from the 60s. He did a lot of stuff of kind of like getting film and carving into it and like baking it and like doing all these crazy things with it. We didn't quite go that far, but one of the big reasons why we wanted to shoot on films was to kind of, play around with some of the stuff that he was doing. In the scene where he steps outside the service station, all the headlights start going off. It kind of felt like, probably the biggest scale thing we did. I wanted to kind of do all the effects in camera. I didn't want to rely on VFX afterwards. So for that scene, it made it quite challenging because we kind of had to rig a whole car park's worth of cars with lights and horns going out of time that slowly come in time together. So that was exciting but tricky, and it meant that, I think we shot that scene, with the two setups you see in the film, we got like 2 takes of each, just because we were so tight for time and it was kind of such a big scale, but it was exciting at the same time. There's always challenges. Crowd days are always hard for me. It's kind of like people management and the kind of organised chaos of all of that is always hard. There's a scene in the film where he's trying to direct people to different cues, and I would say that was the hardest because there's so much choreography with, supporting artists kind of, bumping into him, not bumping into him, so that's hard. The very first thing we did was start casting Adam. Heather, our casting director, was great in terms of kind of showing us kind of everyone that could possibly play the role. But I think, with Faraz, I saw Faraz quite early on in the process, and the more I kind of saw him play the character, the more I realised it could only really be him. For a character that doesn't say much, it doesn't emote much, there's always, an instinct to kind of try and fill in those blanks. He was kind of confident to kind of step back and kind of let the silences be there. For the rest of the roles, like Natalie, I saw a tape that Natalie did and I was kind of completely blown away by her. She's such a striking presence in that. Whenever you see her on screen, she's kind of such a memorable, kind of specific actor. She's brilliant. Like Rushbrook, who plays Adam's mum in the film, and Steve Oram, who plays Jeff, the manager. I've seen them in so much stuff. I was big fans of their stuff. So yeah, that was kind of quite a simple decision to make with those guys. And yeah, I think that's it. We screened it at Venice, and yeah, it's always hard sitting in your own screenings. It's kind of like, the more time that passes, the easier that becomes. The reaction afterwards and being able to celebrate, we had a great time afterwards, so I kind of recovered from the screening.